The Sharks get their heart ripped out by the Ottawa Senators, and the Cuda gets swept. So all that and more on today's episode.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast covering your favorite team in the Bay Area. My name is JD Young, contributor at San Jose Hockey Now. I want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen, probably part of the Locked On Network. We cover your team every day, even on a Sunday. We a little bit different schedule this week, especially with the Sharks playing like 3 and 4 in early schedule. So wanted to get a Sens game out. Recap out now. That way it's still fresh. You're not kind of 2 games behind by the time we get through hopefully we get through the Sabres game. So if you want to be an everydayer though, all you have to do is just follow wherever you get podcasts, or you can watch on YouTube as well. And the Sharks showed some signs of life, maybe-ish, or maybe they just took advantage of a poor goaltending. And the Cuda gets swept. So another rough weekend of hockey for San Jose, is just the whole organization is still trying to kind of figure things out. So before we get into these insane Sharks Sens game, of course, we'll talk about the ending of the game and then get into the Cuda. Do want to let you guys know that today's episode is brought to you guys by FanDuel. Make every moment matter more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. You place a $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. So, the Sharks lose in excruciating fashion, giving up the game-winning goal with like 3 seconds left to Vladimir Tarasenko. Tarasenko still, in the year of our Lord 2024, still causing havoc to the Sharks. I'll never forgive EA or whoever for picking Vladimir Tarasenko over Joe Pavelski for the cover of NHL several years ago. Still, he's on the list. I'm like Steve Buscemi with the list in the background, Vladimir Tarasenko. Even if it's just for that, I just wanted a Joe Pavelski cover. Anyway, so excruciating fashion. But if you're driving the tank, perfect execution there to lose in regulation, not get any points, and continue to have your 3-point buffer between you and Chicago. But I think the big thing about this game is I think this is a preview of kind of what to expect from the Sharks, right? The big talking point out of San Jose and, just how tough and how terrible the Sharks schedule has been for the first half of the season, and now for the second half of the season is going to be much easier. You're going to be playing teams at the bottom, more in your weight class, right? Bottom of the rankings, or bottom of the standings. You're going to be playing, your Chicago's, your Ottawa's, your, Anaheim's, all these other kind of bad teams, right? But in this game, and we'll get to the numbers here in a little bit, Ottawa still dominated the Sharks, and if it wasn't for leaky goaltending by the Sens, like this game could have easily been like 6-1 in favor of the Sens, because again, it's not like the Sharks had some huge shots and stuff. Like the shots on goal were 41 to 18. Like the Sharks only managed to get 18 shots on goal on this the worst team in the Eastern Conference in Ottawa. And I know Ottawa is an offensive team, right? That's how they're kind of built, is they're going to rely on their guys like Tkachuk and Stützle and all their young guys to kind of carry the load and basically just try to outscore you, right? Just kind of the Edmonton Oilers of the East. That's kind of their model right now. And yes, they have some very good guys on, with Shabbat and, Chicker, and they have great, defenders, but their goaltending has been a mess, right? This team is just as bad as the Sharks, right? Trying to find goaltending. Look at Matt Murray. You look at, like they've just been kind of in the weeds trying to find goaltending. And again, glass houses, Sharks fans, et cetera, et cetera. We've been in the same boat, right? But if the Sharks defense, I think, was a huge issue, and the credit to the Sharks, they took advantage of the opportunities they got. Right, in the second period, they had 4 shots on goal and they scored 2 on the 4. That's not sustainable. But the defense continues to be leaky, and you see, especially with Ty Emberson. Ty Emberson is almost becoming like the Sharks Jenga piece. If you don't know kind of the Jenga theory, Dave Damashek, great football podcaster, he has this theory of the one piece that you can't pull out before the whole thing collapses, right? And yes, in football, it's always easy to point to the quarterback, but that one like non-quarterback player, like, and you like Ty Emberson you're kind of seeing, right? Emberson is out of the lineup again. They had to play Marc-Edouard Vlasic, and the defense just was a mess, right? How many just guys left wide open by themselves against the Sens? And it's weird that Ty Emberson is kind of becoming this super important player. And Ty Emberson, I think he's going to be a really good defenseman, but he's been here for, 4 months, 5 months now, with a waiver claim. And look how important he's become. And, I still think a lot of the young defensemen, there's a lot of promise with them, with Emberson, with Thrun. I think Addison's been really up and down. Ohochuk seems like he's a little bit in the doghouse right now, but how important these young guys are to continually get better, because some of these, Vlasic scored. Congratulations for scoring, but Vlasic was not great on Sunday or Saturday, excuse me. It's this defense just constantly leaving the goaltenders and just hung out to dry. And Mackenzie Blackwood played really well despite the shot attempts, et cetera. Like, we'll get into Blackwood's numbers. I know that he gave up 5 goals, but like, it was a shooting barrage, especially the final 2 minutes, right? It felt like it was 5-on-5, and it felt like the Sens had their goalie pulled. Like, it felt like a 6-on-5 situation, because the Sharks just could not kind of win a battle there. And like the Sens, they won that game because of their ability to control the puck and play offense and keep the Sharks on their, kind of hemmed in their own zone. The Sharks unable to get a clear. I don't know why Marc-Edouard Vlasic and Mario Ferraro both out there at the same time. I'll take Mario Ferraro, and if you want to put out Thrun or whoever, like, that's fine. But like, we saw Thrun play really well at the end of a game situation when the Sharks beat the Canadiens on Thursday. Why is Thrun not back out there at the end of the game? Like, he's easily one of your best defensemen at this point, and has been good at these shutdown situations. The Sharks literally just went through this on Thursday. Yes, they gave up a goal in that situation, but in a 5-minute situation of being down by 2, kind of the same shooting gallery. This time on Monday or on Saturday, my days are all screwed up right now. On Saturday, Vlasic and Ferraro out there for a good chunk of the end, and they end up giving a goal up. And it's just like, Henry Thrun he's part of your future. And I worry. I understand if maybe you worry you don't want to do the same thing that the Sharks end up doing to Mario Ferraro, where you just literally have nobody else. But I think the Sharks have some other guys, right? And again, I know Emberson's hurt right now. But I think that they've got some reinforcements coming defensively. I think some of these other young defenders have played well, and I would rather give them these valuable learning experiences that if you screw up now, cool, you screw up now in a lost season, but then you're kind of building and learning on these experiences. That way, when, in a couple of years, when the games actually mean something, in Henry Thrun, Ty Emberson, Ohochuk, hopefully Shakir Mukumadulin, they built on these experiences of how to close down games, right? And the Cuda have not had much luck closing down games, as we'll get to them here in a little bit, kind of shutting the door on games. But these are valuable experiences to learn, kind of like, how do you close a team out when they're giving it everything they have? And it's an onslaught, right? It is an onslaught at the end, and the Sharks failed. Not only did they lose the game, but they also lost an opportunity for some of these young players to gain that valuable experience. So yeah, just it's one of those. So we'll see what happens on Monday. If this game sounds like this game's gonna get played in Buffalo. I know this as I'm recording this at lunchtime now on Sunday afternoon. And the Sharks are still stuck in Ottawa with a game that's getting played at noon Eastern time. So it's 3 p.m. Eastern time right now, and it's noon. The game's being played at noon Eastern time, Buffalo. It sounds like the airport is opening up. I would expect them to get in, but this has scheduled loss written all over it because the Sharks are going to be probably getting there and then having to turn around and play a game in 18 hours or something like that. And this game just has scheduled loss written all over it because I think the travel and then have to turn around and leave and to get to Chicago for the next day, especially with Buffalo's with what's going on with Buffalo and the weather right now, has scheduled loss written all over it. So we'll talk about what the numbers said, look at how kind of dominant the Sens were in this game, and then we'll talk about the Cuda here at the end of the show. So we'll get all to that in just 1 second. The NFL regular season is over, but the playoffs are here, and there's still time to get on the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. It's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. The app is super easy to use, and there's so many different ways to bet, like live same-game parlays, find bets in their new Explore tab. You can kind of see what other people are doing. You can make a parlay in the Parlay Hub, the best way to find the most popular parlays. So again, if you want to jump in on the crowd, see what they're betting, or if maybe you're like, the crowd is an idiot, let me fade them, maybe pick some of the opposite parlays. You can do all that and more. So visit fanduel.com/lockedon and make your first bet a layup. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. All right. So let's get into the numbers. Before we do get into the numbers, shout out to at Princess Goalie on Twitter. Sent me the Sharks women's Bay Area FC hockey jersey. It is very nice. I'm very excited to wear this bad boy. But shout out to Princess Goalie. Go follow her. Insane amount of tweets. Very much a volume shooter. But she's great. So anyway, let's get into the numbers for this game. So again, the Sens dominated at 5v5. Shot attempts, Corsi for 78 to 35 in favor of the Sens, 69.03 to 30.97 Corsi for, again, in favor of the Sens. 36 to 15 shots for, 36 to 20 scoring chances. So again, the Sharks had more scoring chances than they had actual shots. So interesting there. 17 to 10 high danger chances in favor of the Sens. 3.86 to 2.17 expected goals for in favor of the Sens. So defense was very much optional in this game. We saw that on both sides of a lot of just open, you look at like the Kevin Labanc goal, like you knew that was going in because Kevin Labanc was all by himself. And as much as, Kevin Labanc is, very much a talking point for Sharks fans, the dude doesn't miss from there. Like the dude can shoot and you knew that was going in, but just how often were some of these goals just contributed to just guys being left wide open and the poor goalies had no chance. So Sharks very much continuing their quality over quantity approach in this game, and they almost pulled it off, especially like I said in that second period where they had 4 shots on goal and they scored on 2 of them. The heat map is insane. It's just like it almost looks like, for the Sens, it looks like one of those sunfish, which my wife loves, that like kind of really ugly, where it's like a big old, that's kind of what it looks like. The Sens just shot from anytime they got the puck, they tried to shoot and just get as many pucks on net. And it worked out for them. So as for the actual lines, so for the Sharks forward lines, we had the same lines that we saw again on from the Montreal game. So we had Eklund, Granlund, Duclair, Zettelin, Hurdle, Zadina, Barabanov, Cunnin, Bailey, Hoffman, Carpenter, and then LeBanc. And woof, all around. Again, when you're getting outshot the way that they did. Again, shot attempts were 35 to 78. You're going to see some ugly numbers here. The Granlund line, 1349, had 4 shot attempts, gave up 23. Actual shots on goal was 3 to 7. Did have a goal, gave up a goal. Expected goal for was 0.34 to 0.72. So again, quality over quantity. 3 to 14 scoring chances, 2 to 5 high danger chances. 0-6-8. So a lot of defensive zone starts, which again, when you're spending that much time in the zone, you're going to have a bajillion defensive zone starts. So not it was a tough game for that line, at least getting hemmed in their own zone. And this is a theme that's going to continue here. The Zetterlund Hurdle Zadina line played 1207, 5 to 15 shot attempts, 1 to 8 actual shots. Had a goal, gave up a goal. 0.06 expected goals, 4 to 0.88. So that line was just as bad. 3 to 7 scoring chances, 0 to 5 high danger chances, 1-5-11 defensive zone starts. Makes sense with those zone starts with Hurdle as how good he is on the faceoff dot. Getting him out there to try to win as many of those as they can. The Barabanov, Cunnin, Bailey line, though, not too bad. 852, 10 to 15 shot attempts. Actual shots was 2 to 8. Again, not too bad relative to the other lines. 0.24 to 0.64 expected goals, 4. 3 to 5 scoring chances, 0 to 3 high danger chances. Did not have a goal, but gave up a goal. And then they had one offensive zone, 1 neutral zone. So a lot of on the fly starts for them. Then the Hoffman, Carpenter, LeBanc line played 749, 3 to 15 shot attempts, 1 to 8 actual shots, had a goal, gave up a goal, 0.08 to 0.58 expected goals, 4, 1 to 8 scoring chances, and then 1 to 3 high danger chances with 2 and 4 zone starts again. Carpenter's not too bad on the faceoff dot himself. So, yeah, the forward line just got, like, again, when you're getting outshot that heavily, it is hard to, as a team, it's hard to kind of pull anything. So I'm curious to see. We don't know when Couture is going to be back. He's on the road trip, but I would expect, especially because they play Tuesday and they don't play again until Saturday against the Ducks. I kind of think give him that, basically another week to kind of get ready and prepare, and you get some actual practices in. The Sharks can actually have like real practices here, on kind of, I assume they'll probably have like Wednesday off, but Thursday, Friday have like real practices. I would assume that's kind of maybe the date, right? You kind of circle that date, let Couture get in then, and then kind of try to figure things out. So, but yeah, Sharks continually getting the Sens dominate this game. And if it wasn't for goaltending that they've been struggling with, it would have been worse. So let's see. Defensively, Henry Thrun was in terms of shot attempts, Henry Thrun was the best player or best defenseman. 16-18, Corsi 4, so 47%. Ruda was 16-20, 44%. Ferraro was 20-44, 31.25%. Hochek was 5-17, 22%. Vlasic 9-39, 18%. And then Addison was 4-19, 17%. So yeah, tough day for the Corsi there. So at 5v5, Mackenzie Blackwood had 36 saves on 41 shots, 5 goals against, 407 expected goals. So, maybe could have saved an extra goal here. But again, I think I would not pin this loss on Mackenzie Blackwood. 878 save percentage, 7 high danger saves on 9 high danger shots, 6 mid danger saves on 9 mid danger shots, and then 20 low danger saves on 20 low danger shots. So the Sens kind of did whatever they wanted in this game. And 5v5, the Sharks struggled to kind of keep up with the Sens. And I know the Sens have struggled a lot this year, but I mean, they have a lot of offensive talent and they kind of want to play an offensive style game. And they did that to the Sharks. And, they hung around as best they could, but when you at the end of the game, right? The Sens, when they needed a goal, they were able to rely on their guys to get a goal, and that's how they kind of won the game there. So let's get into the Barracuda game or weekend and talk about how the season might be just about over for the Barracuda. So we'll get into all that here in just 1 second. All right. If you want to go check out a game, you want to go see a Warriors game, maybe you want to go see the Niners playoff game, or maybe you want to go to a Sharks game, but you want to get tickets, that's where you need to check out Game Time. They have the killer last minute deals, all in prices, views from your seat, and the best price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. I love being able to see what your seats are going to be like, right? There's nothing worse than getting there and realizing you have bad seats. Actually, the only thing worse than realizing you have bad seats is when you go to check out and they slam a bunch of fees on you. Game Time doesn't do that. They have all in prices showing you your total upfront, so you know exactly what you're going to pay when you go to check out. They're obsessed with finding ways to save you money on tickets. So they have like flash deals. They have deals on tickets right to the start of the event, even after the event starts. So even if you're a procrastinator, you can still get great prices on seats. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDON, LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right. And then the Barracuda. Losing both games to the Bakersfield, had another home and home. I kind of like the home and home with Bakersfield. So Friday night they played in San Jose, got out to a 1-0 lead, gave up 3 goals, scored a goal to kind of make at the end to kind of put some lipstick on the pig. But as usual, it has come down to special teams with the Barracuda, and it was no different on Friday night as the Barracuda gave up 2 power play goals and a shorthanded goal. Yeah, right there. When their power play, so Bakersfield's power play went 2-4. Barracudas went 0 for 2. And then you give up a shorthanded goal on top of that. So you basically that's you went -1 on your power play. And that's kind of been, is this inconsistency with their special teams. I thought it was a very back and forth game for the most part watching it. But the Bakersfield was able to kind of take advantage of those opportunities, and the Cuda have not. And I think the big thing with the Barracuda this year is if it's not Gushin, who had another goal on Saturday night. So yeah, he's now up to 13 goals and 30 points. If it's not Gushin, if it's not Kavanke, who is it? And I think Ethan Cardwell's been playing really well, but again, I think he's not a play driver quite yet. That's fair, right? For rookie, kind of a mid-round pick. Like, it's not fair to expect him to kind of come in and drive play right away. But he has been scoring. But if it's not these guys, who is it, right? You look at, Tristan Robbins, who I know he's missed half the season, the first half of the season, but he has a point in 10 games. And Tristan Robbins was supposed to be a huge producer for the Barracuda this year. Brandon Coe started the season really well. It's been very quiet as of late. Jacob Peterson, who was, a kind of borderline AHL, NHL guy, just hasn't had the season that we expected out of him this year. In 23 games, he has 13 points, and I know he's, kind of dealt with some injuries this season, but like you expected him to be, a kind of a much more of a contributor. That's the problem. They just had not found consistency offensively. And again, if it's not Gushin, if it's not Kavanke, and Muka Madulin's been chipping in too. Who else is it for the Barracuda? And they just don't have the answers down. Again, I know Borla has been hurt. It sounds like Ozzy might be done for the year, or pretty close, with meniscus surgery on his knee. That's you're looking at several months. I would be surprised if the Barracuda season kind of continues to go the way it's going. I would be surprised if Ozzy's back, I think that maybe you just kind of shut him down and let him heal all the way. That way he can be ready for next season. But yeah, with that, some of these guys that we expected for the Barracuda to be big contributors just have not been big contributors for them, and I think that's been a huge problem for them. Like, you look at like Bakersfield, their big guy scored for them this weekend. You look at like Dylan Holloway, like he had a power play goal, like he was all over the ice. Like they're Philip Broberg, who's been a big part of what their kind of their future. He's continuing to kind of add points in for them, but the Barracuda just aren't getting enough out of their guys right now, other than your mainstays, right? Daniel Gushin, and Gushin's going to be playing NHL games some point this season because he's played really well, and you can see how he's continuing to kind of develop his game. And Leon Gavanke, who should be playing NHL games at some point too, because he's done everything you've wanted from him this year, and he's been a great addition for the Barracuda. And I think you should, same way you've rewarded like a Scott Sabrin, you kind of reward some of these guys. Leon Gavanke should get rewarded and get to play some NHL games this year. And I would really, really like to see the Sharks re-sign him and give him a real opportunity an opportunity to play in the NHL next year, especially if the blue line looks much different. We kind of expect the blue line to look a lot different going into next season, depending on if Mario Ferraro gets traded. I don't think Marc-Edouard Vlasic's going to be back. If Matt Benning's a little bit slow recovering from his injury, et cetera, et cetera. I think Leon Gavanke has shown a lot in the AHL and has been a big contributor in there. And I think you should, and again, he's only 24. It's not like he's some old man or something like that. Like, I think he should get an opportunity to play some NHL games here at the end of the season. I'd love to see him back in the Sharks organization next year because, again, I think he can be either continue to dominate in the AHL, and then if you need him to play NHL games, I would love to see that. But another big kind of interesting takeaway was Magnus Krona got both starts with E2 Makiniemi backing up. So Georgi Romanov is down in Wichita right now playing with the Thunder. Right, usually on back-to-backs you see like you especially on back-to-backs where Krona will start and then Makiniemi start the other one. Interesting. I wonder, you wonder if maybe Makiniemi's maybe dealing with something, maybe he was ill. I didn't catch all, I didn't listen to the pregame broadcast, but if there was something there with Makiniemi, if he was just kind of ill and there as a backup. But interesting there, right? Especially because if you go and you trade a Capo Kakinen or Mackenzie Blackwood, you kind of assume Makiniemi is going to be the guy who's going to be kind of stepping in and playing NHL games. And just interesting that he didn't get a start this weekend. So could have a busy schedule. This week they're heading over to Charlotte to play the Checkers. That's over in North Carolina in the middle of the week. And then next weekend, they're going to be playing in Colorado when they play the Eagles. So, but for the Barracuda right now, it's getting very, very late for them as they are now sitting, pulling up the standings right now. They're sitting dead last in the Pacific. They're basically 8 points out of a playoff spot right now. And Bakersfield has multiple games in hand. They're 8th right now. Colorado has a game in hand. It's getting very late for the Barracuda to kind of turn things around here, because that's just disappointing, because you kind of hope that this team would really turn things around, and it's been a disappointing season, I would say, especially because of the talent you thought that they had going into this year, and just kind of what they have not been able to do. I mean, they've scored goals, but it feels like it's either they're scoring 1 goal or they're scoring 6 goals, and just haven't seen enough consistency. And the goaltending / defense has not been. They've given up the 3rd most goals this season in the entire AHL. Basically, only Laval and Rochester have given up more goals than them. They've given up 126 goals this year, so while scoring 106. So that's kind of where this is. Yeah, that's why you can't win games like that when you're just giving up a bajillion goals. So yeah, that's going to be it for me today. So we'll have another episode tomorrow, probably Monday, as soon as I can get one out Monday after the Sabres game. And then we'll be back after the Chicago game. So plenty of good stuff coming up here. And then Wednesday or Thursday, we'll be kicking off our draft coverage with our good friend Tony Ferrari. We're gonna nice overview of the 2024 draft. So going to start kicking this off in earnest and get this bad boy ready. So make sure you guys are following wherever you get podcasts, or you can watch on YouTube as well. You can follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Locked On Sharks. You can follow me on Twitter at MyFryHole. Until tomorrow, bye, friends.